Hi, and welcome back to the Sounds Like Freedom podcast. I'm your host, Deborah Henne. I'm here with Dr. Paul Reeves, who has served for over 30 years in education, first as a teacher and then for much longer as a school principal and administrator. His schools often led the state in standardized test score increases while also intentionally creating, nurturing, and fostering environments that were conducive to effective teaching and learning. Doing his work as an educational consultant, Paul has helped teachers, principals, superintendents, and school board members to more effectively address the needs of their students and communities so that all could achieve success. He's also the author of the book, A Principal's Family Principles, which is a collection of 85 stories from his days as a father of three children, his time as a teacher, and his work as a school principal, all designed to help parents to raise their kids to be healthy and happy while enjoying the journey. Paul has 5 university degrees, a bachelor's in music education, a bachelor's in music performance, his master's in educational leadership, and his educational degree in educational administration, and his doctorate in education in curriculum. In addition, Paul's work in music has produced 2 CDs, multiple compositions for concert and jazz bands, and award-winning school bands. He also has his own show, Dr. Paul's Family Talk, which is a radio show on terrestrial radio in a major market. And then he created the Impact Radio USA, which is an internet 24/7, 365 radio station that still features his Dr. Paul's Family Talk radio show, but now also includes Impact Music, Impact Classics, Parenting 101 Plus, a sports show, and the Bible in Today's World, in addition to shows from other content creators. Paul loves the Lord and is always willing to discuss his wonders, his word, and all that the kingdom has to offer us. Welcome, Dr. Paul.
Well, thank you, Debbie. Good to be here. Good to see you again. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's good to see you again. Also, I got to be on your show a couple of months ago, which was just so much fun and a great journey. And I said, we have to continue the conversation. You need to come on my show.
That's
So,
right. Actually, we have you set for 3 shows. You were on the Bible in Today's World, and then on Dr. Paul's Family Talk. And later, in a month or two or so, we'll have you on our Parenting 101 Plus show. Same interview, played 3 times. You're going to be more famous than you ever planned on.
oh, I don't know that I ever planned to be super famous. Just to serve and love and to share the message of God's love.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, so tell us about your journey. It's quite a journey. And me, I love education. I love learning. I love music. So it's a great blend. It's a blend that is very special to me as well.
Okay, I'll give you the short version, and then if you have questions, I can expand from there. I just don't want to hog the whole show with my story. Uh, I was always attracted to music. It's one of those things that, right out of the womb, I was playing an instrument. I was playing drums. That was my first instrument. Eventually got into piano and trumpet and other brass. And but there were no jobs. You know how it is in the musician world, it's kind of like the artist world, the author world. They always tell you get a real job first and then do that stuff on the side. And if you're one of a billion gazillion people who can make money at it, great. Otherwise, plan on a real career. I thought, no, this is what I want to do. I want to be a band director. I want to be a school teacher, and I want to be a professional musician. And then my own doctor and my own chiropractor at the time took me aside personally and said, hey, knock this music stuff off. My doctor said, go to school, go to any school you want, major in whatever you want. And when you're done, I'll get you into my medical school. When you graduate, I'll bring you on staff here for 2 years. And then you can stay with me or move on. I thought, well, that's a heck of a deal. My chiropractor said the same thing. And then my dad said, you can major in anything you want in college, not music and not education. I said, well, Dad, those are the two things I want. And he said, yeah, but you can't find jobs in those areas. Musician thing is week to week, and no one's hiring teachers, would say we're not at the time. Okay. All right. So I entered college, majored in science, and I always had this gnawing feeling. And I've learned over the years to accept that gnawing feeling, the gut feeling. That's the Holy Spirit talking to you, telling you, yes, do this, or hey, you might want to reconsider, or definitely don't do this. So sitting through chemistry and physics and biology, I was enjoying it and doing well, but every day I had that feeling something's not right. Well, it hit me one day, second year of college in chemistry, after praying on this for over a year and some months. Right away, he told me, get out of this chemistry class, walk to the music school and register and get this done right. Now, I didn't act upon it, and I was 19. What did I know? I thought, I better think this over. And the more I thought it over and prayed on it the rest of the day, okay, now I've received the word from him. The Holy Spirit's been telling me to do it. He just basically hit me over the head to do it, which I had been praying for. Hit me over the head because I can't figure this out. Nicely, though. And so the next day, or that night, I went to talk to my parents, and I said, you won't believe this, but I'm leaving science. I'm not going to be a medical doctor. I want to be a musician and a teacher. My mom looked at me. She goes, well, I was wondering how long it would take you to make this choice. I said, yeah, but Dad's going to kill me. And she said, I'll take care of that. So he came home. She talked to him. I came and he said, if that's what you really want to do, then go out there and be the best teacher and musician you can be. Not the response I was expecting. I thought, bodily thrown through the door and don't ever talk to me again. Exaggerating, of course. And so the next day I went to talk to the music school and they said, yeah, you just have to audition. You have to do this, that, and the other thing. We can start you next semester. I auditioned. I got in, majored in music, made it to the principal percussion chair, which is the first chair in percussion. We took a tour of China. It was a great experience. Got out of college, began my teaching career as a band director, worked in 2 different districts, one that was a smaller community and one that was a very significantly huge and major community in the world of music, and developed that into becoming a school principal. I was a school teacher / band director for 11 years. I was a principal school administrator for over 20. And also on the side, I had this love of radio. I've been broadcasting in some form or another since high school, whether it's announcing sports games or concerts, wherever I can get my voice out there and announce. And finally, in 2015, I had the opportunity. I went on terrestrial radio. That show did very well. And then I took it to my own station, which, as you mentioned, I created, I believe, in 2017, Impact Radio USA. Took my Dr. Paul's Family Talk radio show to that, and it's expanded greatly since then. But the Dr. Paul's Family Talk is the major show. That's the star show because everything else came about because of that. And now we're doing that. You were on the Bible in Today's World, a month or 2 ago, and you did very well. And so that's where I am today. After 5 college degrees and later, 30 plus years in education, many more than that in the field of music, writing music, teaching music, playing music. And in case you were wondering, the most famous person I ever played with, believe it or not, singer Tony Bennett. Now, he didn't hire me to play. I was playing at a gig and he walked by and said, do you mind if I sing a song with you? Of course, I barely stayed among the living. I thought I was going to pass out. And so Tony Bennett sang with us. So that's kind of a big deal. And that brings me to where I am today.
Wow, that's an amazing journey. So what I found interesting too was that in your book and in your bio, you kind of mix the education and the parenting. And I love how you talked about how the scores in your area really took a boost. Um, Now, what I found just talking to people locally and people who are of the faith that are working with struggling students and working in struggling districts or areas, that God will download specific strategies um, to bring into their classrooms, to bring to that tutoring session, to just open up the student's mind to get them where they need to go. Is that something that you also found in your journey?
I have prayed earnestly every day since I was a kid, seeking direction, tell me what to do, how to do it. I'm not smart enough to figure this out. Lord, you are. You know how to do this, so tell me what to do and I'll do it. And so go back to that gut feeling, which is the Holy Spirit saying, here's what you're supposed to do. You just follow that. And at the time, when I got the huge gain, which is about 20 years ago, I took everything up 100%, 200%. But districts, if you got 3 to 5% gain in a particular area, let's say math or English or whatever, 3 to 5% in 1 year was time for a big party celebration. Party hats and noisemakers and everything else. That's 3 to 5%. We went up 400% in a specific area of the math, not the entire math, just an area targeting a special group of kids that we had intentionally targeted for improvement. Now, you don't go up 400% on your own. No human being is capable of doing that. But when the Lord is directing your curriculum and your staff development and your students, yeah, 400% is pretty easy. So we did that and then maintained it for many years thereafter.
That's amazing. And what a testimony. to
Oh.
God's hand and blessing on your position.
Mm.
And I love how you talk about parenting too. And in your bio, you say, and enjoy the process,
Hmm.
which I found kind of made me smile because so are we. We love, I mean, I'm a mom. I love my kids,
Yeah.
but there are times where enjoying the process is mm, a choice.
Sure. Sure it is.
So
Yeah.
can you talk about that and the message that you bring in that area?
Well, I've also always had I'll say it so nobody else has to, kind of a quirky sense of humor. I enjoy comedy. I enjoy being funny. I enjoy singing. I enjoy singing songs that other people have written, but I'll change the lyrics to make them specific to one of my kids or the house or the dog or whatever's going on at the moment. And so I've always enjoyed life. In fact, a couple of people have said, "How are you always happy?" It's like, well, it's pretty easy when you follow the Lord. You just do what He tells you to do, and He takes care of all the bad stuff. So when I say, raising your kids to be healthy while enjoying the journey, you're supposed to have fun as a parent. Yes, there are times where it is not fun at all. You get upset, you get ticked off for whatever reason. They broke a glass, they won't eat their dinner, they stayed out too late. Those are not fun moments. And then you have to deal with them. You have to deal with them fairly directly and send the message that this will never happen again. Shouldn't have happened to begin with. It will never happen again. But somewhere down the road, you'll laugh about it. And I would use that with my kids. Okay, right now, this is not funny at all. I'm very upset. 25 years from now, we'll be sitting around a campfire enjoying some iced tea. And I'll bring up, remember the time that and then we'll just start laughing. So I always kept that in mind. This is bad. This is serious. Yeah, I'm a little upset, but I'll get over it and we'll be fine. And someday this will be funny as heck. And it softened the blow. We still took care of business and the kids were raised to be healthy, to be happy, but I also enjoyed the journey. And so did they. We had a fun household, but there were serious moments too. When we had to be serious, we were serious. When we can laugh and have some fun, we had some fun. And if we could do both at the same time, that's even better.
Yes, absolutely. And we found that too.
Yeah.
Just making sure you find that time to have fun together, to smile, to laugh. We put on the music. We'll have dance parties,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
throughout the house, and it's just fun. And
That's right.
it breaks something, I think, and I think that's a big part of having that healthy family environment.
Oh, yeah.
And I think also, the Bible talks to train up your children in the ways of the Lord. And one day God said to me, how do I teach and how do I train you?
Hmm.
Not just teach them the Bible, do Bible memory, do the character development. Sure, that's part of it, for me anyway.
Yeah.
But how do I train you? What are the methods? And then I really opened up my mind. It's like, okay, well, how does he? He deals with issues swiftly,
Hmm.
but he doesn't stay on them. He says, yep,
Right.
now we've dealt with that. Let's move forward and let's move on together.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna rejoice over you with singing,
Yeah.
and so we turn on the music and we dance.
That's right. Well, we used to have fairly regularly there for a long time. There was a station. At the time was in the Detroit area, Detroit, Michigan, and there was a station that every Saturday night was disco night. They just had every disco hit you can imagine, and we knew all the songs. And I don't know what prompted it, probably because I just am how I am. I said, "Hey guys, let's just start dancing," and so we did. And I, as an adult male, I like to think I'm mature. Perhaps I'm not. And then three kids, maybe ages 3, 6, and 9 at the time, or 4, 7, 10. They're dancing up a storm. Nobody could dance worth a darn, but it was fun and funny, and they didn't want the night to stop. Now, interestingly, I'm not a dancer. I'm a musician. I've never taken a dance lesson or class in my life. My daughter went on to be a professional dancer, actually had a couple of roles on Broadway in dancing. And people ask me, wow, how did she do that? I said, because of all those nights throughout her life watching me dance and then doing the opposite. And she turned out to be successful. So that's what I mean. It's just fun, funny, having a good time, keeping in mind, though, who's really in charge in the family. I mean, it's you, and there are lines they cannot cross. And if they do, you'll deal with them. And then we'll have some more fun after that. But yeah, the dancing, the singing, And there was a song, we're recording this around Christmas time. Everybody knows the tune, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Well, I would change the name of Santa Claus to one of my kids. Christy Claus is coming to town. Ryan Claus is coming to town. Brandon Claus is coming to town. And Ryan and Brandon thought it was funny. My daughter, who was the oldest, would get it's not Christy Claus, it's Santa Claus. That's how we sing it in school. Santa, and she'd get really serious, like, Kristen, we're just having a good time. And then she'd realize, oh, yeah, that is pretty good. And then she kind of liked it, like, hey, my name's in a song. So it just have fun, enjoy the journey, take care of business, take care of your kids, but have fun with them, because here's the worst part about being a parent. They do grow up and move out and leave you, and you don't see them every morning when you get up. Hey guys, time to get up. Love you. Those days are gone. All my kids are grown and gone, families of their own. So there will come an end. So enjoy them while you have them in your home.
Absolutely. And I think that's important to keep in mind. And it's getting more and more poignant to me. Our oldest at this time of recording is 15 and a half. So we're actively planning next steps, college, career, looking at options. And I might get misty eyed here. I
Yeah.
get misty eyed thinking, the clock is ticking and she's going to leave soon. And she's a driver. She's an ambitious one. She's, not coming back.
Right.
Put
Right.
it that way.
You know,
um,
well, my daughter, when I was a middle school principal, and when my daughter was in middle school, not my school, a town away, they had this annual trip where they took all the eighth graders to Washington, D.C. That was well established and well known. When you get to go to eighth grade, you're going to Washington, D.C. and take a tour. And it was a full week. I think they left on a Saturday or Sunday, came back the next Saturday or Sunday. Okay, no big deal. I've taken a million tours myself as a teacher and as a principal. We'll just take care of this. And then she left for the trip, and the house felt empty. Even though two kids are still there and life was going on, I was still working every day. Didn't feel right. And that's when it hit me. Okay, she's 14. This really is going to end not that long from now. Now, thankfully, she stayed in the home till she finished college, but yeah, they will leave. So if you're going to make your mark on your kids and train them in the ways of the Lord and get them ready for life and have fun along the way, singing silly songs or dancing, even though you can't dance, you better do it now, because there will come a day where they won't be there, right?
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think that we keep coming back to the same point of have fun
Yeah.
with the thing, have fun with your kids. Because sometimes I think life can get so serious
Mm-hmm.
and we get caught up in work and paying bills and
Mm-hmm.
taking care of the cleaning and the yard work. And as adults, we get so stuck in that. And yes, we need to be responsible and teach them responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important that we teach them to make sure they're having fun, getting those belly laughs, smiling, you know, that social balance of, having time alone, but also having time with others.
Yeah.
I think being that well-rounded person is so important. And sometimes I think we lose sight of that. Um, it's
Well, it's
easy to lose.
easy. Yeah, it's easy to do as a parent, as an adult. You have a lot of things going on. You have to pay your mortgage every month. You might have a car or two payment. You have to worry about gasoline, food, a job. Your boss is stressing you out. And so you come home and it's like, well, that's really your time to get away from it all and say, hey, guys, dad's home or mom's home. Let's have some fun. Let's go out back and throw a ball or a frisbee or go for a race in the street
Mhm.
and or dance, whatever we're doing. You don't want to bring that stuff home, because that's going to affect how they grow up. They'll say, well, geez, every time dad came home, he was mad. I had a terrible childhood. A kid would say that. I never said that. My kids didn't say that. But if you come home every night in a bad mood and start throwing stuff around, well, that's no way. How would you like to be a kid in that environment? Your kid wants to know you're in charge, you're the man, you're the woman, and you're home. And now the family's back together. So it makes a big difference.
So as we talk about that, and the show is really talking about living in freedom, in our everyday circumstances, because that's a real thing, right? We
Yeah.
get home, like I work long hours on the days that I work out of the home, 10 to 12 hours, and I come home and I'm tired, and I've learned how to manage that and not kind of let my hair down in a bad way with my family, because you're right, that is so key and so crucial that when the parent comes home, what kind of atmosphere are they setting in the home?
Mhm.
And it doesn't take long to figure that out. To
Right.
see, you know, I need to change something here. But what is there a strategy that you can give our listeners, that are working out of the home. They come home and they get hit with the kids. They're excited to see them. They have to run them to activities. They have to do the math homework with them, and still make time to eat and pay the bills and get
Yeah.
to bed and do it again.
Well,
What is something that you can tell our listeners? Try this, do this, because it helped me. It's helped other people in my life.
mhm. Well, this is what worked for me when I was a teacher. I'm trying to think of how many years I taught after, because I taught before I had kids. From the moment I had kids until the time I stopped teaching, about 6 years. And then I became a principal after that. So for those 6 years, teaching is totally different than being a principal. You're around kids all day. I literally had over 300 kids every day. A band director, big program. So 300 kids. It takes a lot of energy to not only keep up with them, but hopefully a little bit ahead of them. That's kind of the role of a teacher. And so I would have tremendous energy spent throughout the day, but I would also have tremendous energy added back to me, by working with the kids. So I'd get home to my kids and I'd just have energy to burn. I'd walk in the door, hey guys, let's go. Let's grab your glove. Let's throw a ball around and whatever. Well, then I became a principal, totally different. Now you're dealing with a lot of times the other end of the world, the kids who get in trouble, the kids who fight, the kids who bring drugs to school. Never had to deal with that stuff as a teacher. Then, of course, you're bringing the parents in who are upset. And there were times I'd go home like, whoa, I think I need to be alone for like the next 50,000 years just to kind of process what happened today. So what I did, and if this is affecting any parent, this is my suggestion. I'd walk in the door. Hey guys, how you doing? Anything to report? And sometimes there would be, yeah, this happened today, or no, everything's fine. Okay, great. I'll be back in a few minutes. And I would go into my room and immediately just wash my hands and face and just splash water everywhere, change clothes right away. I was in a suit and tie and dress shoes, got rid of that and on went a t-shirt and a pair of shorts, even in the wintertime. It's like, okay, now I'm not a principal anymore. I'm a dad. I'm a guy in the home. And then I'd go down and we'd do whatever. We'd go out and throw a ball or start dinner together, whatever it was. But sometimes you have to get home and you have to make time alone for yourself. That's what I did. Even though I had to drive to get home, you would think that'd be in my alone time, but it wasn't enough.
Not
And so rather than get involved with the kids and be in a bad mood or still stressed or still mad at my boss for whatever he said, okay, I'm going to take about 10 minutes here, guys. I'll be right back. And I was. And then life was fine after that. But you're right. You mentioned something about kids having activities. Yeah, sometimes that happens too. You get home at work at 4 or 5 and you're running till 10 or 11 at night. Dance class, baseball, soccer, music lessons, you name it, helping with homework. Well, where's that energy going to come from? Part of it is working out, staying healthy, and eating the right things. Part of it too is dealing with stress. And that's how I dealt with it. Dad needs about 10 minutes, guys. I'll be right back. Then I was always back. I guess that'd be my suggestion.
Yes, and I have found that also.
Mm.
And we kind of trained the kids that, I come in, you give them hugs and kisses around the ones that are still hugging and kissing. And hey, how you doing? And I just need, 5 minutes
Mm.
just to, and I take my drive home. I only have like a 10-minute commute. It's not
Mm.
terribly long. Um, but I take that time to get all the frustrations off, take them to the Lord, surrender them to the Lord. I might sing a worship song. I might call a neighbor who's uplifting and encouraging, just to
Yeah.
have some girl chatter on the way home too. Um, and, I just take that 10 minutes to kind of shift my mind out of work. And then when I get home to rest, and then, okay, I'm ready
Mm-hmm.
to, well, let's hit this algebra.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes a big difference.
It makes a
Well, I
huge
have
difference.
at the end of my parenting show. Yeah. In addition to the music shows, you mentioned, Dr. Paul's Family Talk, Parenting 101 Plus, and the Bible in Today's World. For those three shows, but particularly the parenting show, I always have some jokes at the end of the show. Now, admittedly, up front, they are lame and silly because, by the way, that's what works with kids. As they get older, you want to go a little deeper. But you want them either laughing or rolling their eyes, saying, Mom or Dad, that was a ridiculous joke. Great. That means you succeeded. But at the end of every show, I have a joke or two or three because I say, there's nothing more fun or funnier than being a parent. And then I'll stop and say, well, actually, that might not be true, but you do have to have fun when you're a parent. So here are some jokes to kind of get you to laugh. And the implication being, share these with your kids. They're always appropriate and silly. Might have to do with, babies or other infants or kindergarten or fifth grade, junior high, high school, college, whatever. They're designed to be funny and just, oh, yeah, I can take a moment to relax and laugh. I forgot who said originally laughter is the best medicine, but it's really true. And I found that. That's why I was always joking around. They know I'm serious. Don't cross any lines, but we can have fun together, and we have a lot of fun, and always did by injecting humor into the situation.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing I found very helpful as a mom and as a busy mom is to find time like uh, this. A lot of people call it a Sabbath day. Um, and I do too, but sometimes that comes with a lot of religious implications, and
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, it's a religious thing." It's not. To me, it's not. Um, it's something I started practicing this year, because God was challenging me to, like, I tithe my money, and you say, "Why don't you give me a tithe of your time
Mm,
and trust that I can do more through you in 6 days than you can do in 7?"
mm-hmm,
And when I researched out even the word Sabbath, integral into that definition or the word root was the word celebrate.
mm-hmm,
And so I just took it as a day that I'm not going to do work, and I'm going to celebrate my family and celebrate my Lord together.
mm-hmm,
And so, but taking that day, a whole day, I'm not going to be cleaning. I'm not spending a lot of time meal prepping, you know, and we're just going to celebrate each other and
yeah.
celebrate the Lord together. And
Yeah.
that was huge too, to have that
Mm-hmm,
whole day to really unwind deeply.
mm-hmm,
A big difference too, I
yeah.
think, in the family dynamics.
Yeah. Because you know that Monday is coming. So you can
Mhm.
plan all weekend for Monday, or you can just say, to heck with that nonsense. Let's have some fun, guys, because Monday is going to come whether you plan for it or not. That doesn't mean you want to get caught off guard. If you know something is coming Monday, you have to think about it and plan for it. But I would say don't make the mistake of, okay, it's Friday night. Oh, shoot, Monday's coming soon. Well, then you've just blown your whole weekend on purpose on Friday night. So just, like you said, take some time to relax, get away from it all, spend the time with your kids. Again, back to the catchphrase, raising them to be healthy and happy while enjoying the journey, because they will be gone. And if you don't enjoy it, they won't enjoy it. And then you'll be sitting in your living room alone someday when you're 50, 60, 100 years old saying, I should have had more fun with my kids. Well, it's too late at that point, isn't it?
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I love it. Having fun, making sure you're carving out that time to smile and to laugh
Mm-hmm.
with your kids. Um, and you're right. That's a big part
Uh,
of living in freedom,
yeah.
because we get so stuck in the serious, I find within myself,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you get tighter and tighter and tighter wound, and then all of a sudden something little and unexpected happens, and you're like, what was that?
That's true. That's very true.
But if you're carving out that time to get in that other headspace and that other heart space, it's like a well that you can draw from when that unexpected happens, and you don't have that knee jerk reaction that makes everyone go, oop.
Yeah. we had one incident. My dad didn't say a lot, but when he did, it was either very profound, life changing, life altering profound, or he was mad and would have a few harsh words. For example, if a glass broke, he'd get mad. Well, you shouldn't have put the darn glass there, that kind of stuff. Well, I wanted to say, hello, Dad, obvious. I know that because it broke. Had I not put it there, it wouldn't have broken. I shouldn't have put it there. I never said that. I was always respectful. So I told my kids stories like that. If things would happen, well, if my dad were here, he would say, it'd be something kind of on the rough and rugged side. So one time we were packing for a trip. We're going to take the family van and go on vacation. To load the car, my boys were helping me, and they had to cut from the house into the garage and then out to the driveway where the van was parked, ready to be loaded. And my youngest son had a tendency to be careless. He didn't pay attention to a lot of detail then. And I saw this glass. That's why I brought up the drinking glass in the garage. Like, first of all, what's a glass doing in the garage? I'll deal with that later. We need to get the van loaded. Well, as he was carrying a suitcase, he bumped into whatever it was on, knocked it over. The glass went flying and breaking into a billion pieces. As I turned around to say something to him, he said to me, "If you hadn't put the glass there, this never would have happened." And he was like 9 years old. He was imitating my dad. Of course, it broke everybody up. So nobody got mad about the glass. What are you going to do about it anyway? It's gone. It's a billion
Right.
pieces. Might as well laugh about it. And at 9 years old, he had already caught on to that. So that's been the MO. But I will say, you also have to be the one in charge.
Hmm.
And I'm fairly big on this because over 30 years dealing with families, I've seen it all. I like to say I've seen it all, but I know I haven't. Probably after this interview is over, I'll see something else I've never seen before. But the kids want to know that you are in charge, that you are their protector, and that you will take care of them. So when they do something that crosses the line, you're thinking as a parent, well, I guess I'll let it go this time. And your kid is inside saying, "Ooh, I wish he would have jumped on me or yelled at me or sent me to my room or something." Consciously or subconsciously, they're thinking that. They need to know that you are in charge. And so I developed this plan, the system, a phrase that said there are absolutes in the family. Absolutes are lines we will never cross. Absolutely. For example, I'll just make something up here. You have to be home at 10 o'clock tonight. Well, that's an absolute. That's not 10:15 or 10:07 or no, it's 10. And if you're not here by 10, we will deal with it however we're going to deal with it. And so they knew that, okay, all right, dad laid down the law. Here's the absolute. I have to be there. And if they'd come home at 9:59, joke around about it, 10:01, there was no joking. We took care of business. But that only happened once between three kids and all those years of raising them. Only one time did one kid come home late, and it was only a few minutes. So there are times, lay down the absolutes. You're the one in charge. You, even at work, if you're not the ultimate authority, you want to know that somebody is, and that they'll take care of you. They'll pay you every 2 weeks. They'll make the work environment safe. You want to know somebody's taking care of that. Well, with kids, it's 100-fold. Where am I getting my next meal? Where am I getting my next pair of pants? Oh, yeah, mom and dad will take care of me. Well, that's your role. So take care of your kids. Lay down the absolutes. Tell them what to do and what to not do, and show them the way as well. And then you can have fun on top of all that. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely. And I love that you brought that balance because we've talked a lot about having fun
Yeah.
with the kids,
Yeah.
but you're right. Fun doesn't mean that you're their friend,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So, because I've seen that a lot too, and it hasn't gone well from what I have observed,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
the parent is the friend.
Yeah.
That you are the authority. God has instituted that the husband and the wife are the authority in the home. And that, I mean, and I think even just, children, their brains are still developing, their minds are still developing.
Mm-hmm.
They need somebody with life experience who's gone through the training process, who's gone through the development process to set the boundaries for them so that they know and they learn what appropriate boundaries are and what they look like.
That's right.
Otherwise, they'll never know. They'll never learn.
Right. And they do push those boundaries again, whether it's intentional or not. Some kids it is, some kids it's not. But they want to know, if I push a little here, will mom or dad push back? I hope they do. Again, consciously or subconsciously. And you'd better, if you say 10 o'clock and it's 10:05, there had better be something done about it. Otherwise, hey, 10:05, I got away with it. Maybe next week, 10:15. Hey, next week, midnight. What the heck? They don't seem to care. They said one thing, they're ignoring it. Not good. That only leads to a life of destruction, whether it's
Mhm.
small, medium, or large. Never a good sign. So, yeah, you're the one in charge. So take care of business.
Right. And so, and that I think goes into discipline. And I think sometimes we hear the word discipline and we think punishment, but that's not really what it is. It's training.
Yeah.
Um, and that might include punishment, but that is not the full definition of discipline. So, yeah, absolutely. Training your children to have a sense of time
Mm,
and timeliness and punctuality, which will serve them in the future in their family, in their job. I mean, as a wife, I don't just go out till 1 o'clock in the morning.
right.
I mean,
Right.
that would be disrespectful to my husband.
Right.
But I've been trained in that because I had parents who had curfew expectations, and I mostly followed them. I will admit, I was the kid. If my
See?
turkey was 11 o'clock, I was in the driveway at 11 o'clock, not in my room. But
Yep.
I was on property.
Yep.
I was on property.
Well, you were pushing it just a little bit.
But I admit,
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah.
my mom
All kids
tells
do.
you that. I
Yeah.
don't know. but but I always pointed out I was on the property lines at
Did
11
that?
o'clock because I knew if it was 11:01 that my head was gonna roll.
Good. Good. Well, I
In
was,
a good way,
yeah.
in a good way.
Well, I always go
So
back always, as in always, 100% of the time I go to the Bible. If the Bible says it, that's it. That's what's going to happen here. And if it doesn't say it, it's not going to happen. So did Jesus ever correct anybody? Pretty much all of the time. That's
all the
my favorite story to pass along, that everybody probably knows, is all of the commerce that was going on at the temple. You will not sell goods and services in my Father's house. And there they were, just taking money left and right, selling this, just having a good old party atmosphere in the house of God. So he went in, or didn't even go in. I think they were doing it outside. He might have gone in too, started flipping tables over and destroying all of their merchandise. Well, that's a form of correction. Hey, I told you to not do this. Boom, here we go. So if Jesus corrected his children, and all of people are his children, well, we're supposed to do the same. That doesn't mean flipping tables over in their bedroom, but it does mean taking some level of correction. I'm sure you agree with that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a time for rejoicing, there's a time for fun, there's a time for correction.
Yeah.
And I think that, those using those keys as we talked about, as parents, using the Holy Spirit guidance. Sometimes I think he downloads strategies. We had a tough season with one of our daughters. She was really struggling through some stuff. And we tried, getting some help, and that was not working. And I just got on my face before the Lord. I said, God, what do I do?
Yeah.
Everything I'm thinking of that will work is not working. But you love her more than I love her. So how do I partner with you as her mother to see her live in your freedom that you paid for?
Mm-hmm.
And he downloaded the strategy Songs of Deliverance.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started practicing worship music together, and that practice led into worship, and that led into freedom. And
Wow.
she is free.
Okay.
But again, that was as a parent, going to the Lord and being like, what do I do? I don't even know where to go. I don't know
Yeah.
what to do.
Yeah.
And following the Holy Spirit's leading, you know, um, for our families, and leading our families toward the Lord and toward His love and freedom.
It really is the answer. And I've done that more times, literally more times than I can count, because I pretty much have done it multiple times every day for most of my life. Lord, what do you want me to do? Sometimes I'd get in situations that weren't even my doing. Things would come at me like, whoa, not seen this before. What do you want me to do here? How should I go about this? Should I stay out of it? Should I do something? If so, what should I do? And then you have to listen. You can't say, okay, God, help me out, and then go off and do something, because he's going, whoa, what'd you do that for? I didn't even speak to you yet. So you ask, he'll answer, and then you go forth. And he might answer in 5 seconds. It might be a week or 6 months, but he'll answer you when he's ready for you to take his wisdom and go forth. And so there's a level of patience. The problem with that, though, is we get caught up in society. Like, okay, something happens to you and you want to do something about it. And he says, not yet, hang on. And you don't have any word from him. And it's hard to not do something on your own. Well, I'm a person and I'm going to take care of this. Well, okay, you've just given up the gift from God, who is going to help you get through this through his own ways. And so you ask, you seek wisdom and advice, and then you wait for the answer, and then you go forth. And there is a calmness and a sense of peace that comes with that. I can't remember, I'm sure it's happened before, but I can't remember the last time I was stressed out about something, even bad things. Okay, this is really bad. Lord, what do you want me to do? And I just wait. Oh, okay, here's what we're going to do. And we fix it. And I can't tell you how many times people have said, you never seem to get mad or angry or stressed out. Well, you're right, because he's the king, he's the Lord of Lords, and He told me to come to him every time, and I do. And look what happens. And of course, I would say these in secular situations in public schools, and people look at me like, "Well, this guy's kind of weird." No, not weird at all. Just love the Lord, and eventually, people would catch on to that. Like, okay, whether he knows what he's doing or not spiritually, it seems to work. And so other people have tried it too. Like, okay, if it works for him, maybe it'll work for me. And of course, the answer is yeah, it'll always work for you because he said so, didn't he?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So key. So key. And then the word says his peace will guard us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
peace guards us, our hearts and our minds, when we trust him. And that's just part of that's it. Just
Yeah.
going to the Lord in prayer, saying, I'm hearing you, I'm gonna be obedient, and I know you've got this.
Mm-hmm.
And you huge difference in heart, in countenance, in reactions. It's incredible. I mean, it's just life changing. Really is.
Well, yeah, it truly is. And I guess that's what I would encourage people more than anything else. If you're listening to this show, all of your shows or all of my shows, and they're saying, yeah, right, whatever, maybe I'll try it someday. No, try it today. Try it right now. You have something going on in your life that's not adding up, whether it's a marriage situation, a kid situation, a money situation, your next door neighbor situation. Just turn it to him. Okay, I'm not getting along with my neighbor, Lord. What should I do? And then wait. He might answer you in 5 seconds, and again, might be 6 months or 10 years. You don't know. But when you get the answer, you'll know it. Goes back to that gut feeling. Okay, here's what I'm supposed to do. And then you do it, and it works out beautifully. Whoa, how'd that happen? Well, we know how it happened. He guided you through because you allowed him to do so. So I would encourage people right now, do it today. Do it when this show is over. Whatever's troubling you, turn it to him and then wait for the answer.
Yes. Amen.
Yeah.
Turn to the Lord. Don't wait. Do it now. There's no lack of situations to turn over to the Lord. And just know that He's got it and He'll take care of it. So,
Well,
Dr. Paul, where can people find you? How can they tune into your show? Uh,
the best way is to go to impactradiousa.com. Have to make sure you get the USA in there. Impactradiousa.com, and everything is there. There's a link at the top. It says Our Shows. If you click on that, there'll be a drop down menu, and you can select any show you want. There are several there. Dr. Paul is first, and I forgot exactly the order, but Parenting 101 Plus is there. The Bible in Today's World is there. The Sports Show, a couple of music shows. One is fun, frolicking, hijinksing around, just having a good time. The other's a little more serious, delving into some music history. But it's all there, and we have shows from other people too. We have a Bible show from Pastor Whitney and his wife Shannon Whitney. We have Sal Passos, who does his own Bible show. We have a doctor from New Jersey who does a medical show. We put several of his programs on there. And you mentioned at the beginning, it is a 24/7, 365. So whenever you click on it, you can hear whatever show is available at that moment. But also, every show is put on a podcast page. And so you don't have to be like, for example, the Bible in Today's World hits Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. No, you don't have to be there at 7 if you want to sleep in or if you have something else to do. So you can catch it on the podcast page. And all those links are on that website as well, impactradiousa.com, as well as the email addresses. Everything is right there.
awesome. So go check out his website, check out his radio stations. I love the message that you bring. I love the work that you're doing, Dr. Paul. Thank you for being faithful to the Lord's service.
Mm-hmm. It's the only way to go. There were moments in my life where I tried to do it on my own. Uh, Long story short, didn't work out. Didn't work out.
Never
God, I
does.
got this. You just sit on the sideline, Jesus. I'll take care of this. And he's just sitting back. Oh, yeah. Okay, go ahead. All right. You,
Okay,
you
go
failed.
ahead.
Come on back.
Yep. Yeah.
Well,
Been
you know,
there, done that too.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, I think I got an idea. I know how to do this, God. I'm good. And
yeah,
then I fall on my face, and He's like, "Okay, you're ready.
that's
You're
right.
ready to do it my way."
Well, that one verse, trust in the Lord and lean not on your own understanding. I mean, how much more plainer could it be made to you? Don't lean on your understanding. Trust in Him, and He'll guide you. Ask, seek, and then listen for the answer and go forth.
Amen. Amen. Well, thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to swipe, tap, or click over to DeborahHenne.com. Follow me on social at the X, Instagram, or Facebook at Deborah Henne Author. And let's not forget to tune into our thoughts to make sure they sound like Jesus's, so they sound like freedom.